What's up, everybody? Garrett back here, and I have a very special video today. Very special guest. If anybody is in here live, come say what's up. This is going to be a little collector's click or collector's corner or whatever you want to call it here. And I have the horror king himself, Vincent, on the other end of this thing. What is up, man?
What's up, man? Thank you for having me, and get in here and ask your questions. I hope
Yeah, man.
In there and chime in.
For sure. So we got some people in here right now, and if anybody is in here, I'll bring their names up, and if you know them, Clifton Groom says, "What is up, Vinny?"
I know. What's up, man? How you doing, Clifton?
So what we're doing tonight is actually we're going to be talking about my favorite movie. And, you know, some of these videos I've kind of said, hey, you know, this movie's a top 5 favorite movie of mine. But I've never really talked about my actual favorite movie. And I kind of thought that this would be the perfect time to do it because if anybody likes The LoSt Boys as much as I do, it's this dude right here.
100%. It's my favorite movie since, probably, 5 years old or something, rather, is when I first saw that movie. And I remember seeing it at my grandfather's house, man, and like my aunts had played it, and I just fell in love with it. The wardrobe, something about it just had a cool vibe, man. Like the wardrobe really hooked me big time. And we'll get into that. But, you know, the soundtrack, everything about it was just cool, man. The boardwalk, it just had a cool vibe to it. And I just loved it ever since I was a kid. When anybody ever asked me what's your favorite all-time movie, and it's The LoSt Boys, like favorite movie just overall, it's The LoSt Boys. I don't really consider it like, when people say, what's your favorite horror movie? You're like, Lost Boys. And it's like, it's not really like, you know what I mean?
It is weird to say that, yeah.
But it's like a horror movie mixed with a rock concert, you know, with a little bit of comedy dabbed in there. So I dig it, man. It's definitely my all-time favorite.
Yeah, man, I totally agree. What's funny is I actually found out, or I actually watched this movie like later. Like I didn't see it as a young kid. I actually saw it later on. Like I was already into horror at that point, and my friend Keith was like, "You seen Lost Boys?" I'm like, I don't think so. And he showed it to me, man. I was just so hooked on it. Like you said, everything about it. It's, you know, the music, the wardrobe, the vibe of being like on the beach and in a carnival at the boardwalk. Like, I mean, everything about it to me was just like you said. It was MTV, man. It's hard to say horror, like you said, because it's so different than that. When you think horror, it's like, you know, it's not really that gory, but I mean, it's got characters that, in my opinion, just like are so cool. Like every one of those characters, I don't care if you're going at Corey Haim or Feldman or any of the vampires themselves. It's like everybody to me was just like cool as shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that's the thing.
They looked like you with the headband and dang. I dig it, man.
That's right, man.
I get what you're going for. I get it. But yeah, man. It just had that. It's funny because like even still to this day now when I watch it, I'm like, man, you know what it would have been like to be like a teenager during that time that film came out, because you know they're teenagers in the movie, but to be a teenager during that time, like even living close to that boardwalk must have been like awesome, you know what I mean? And I think it's funny too, because I always talk about this, man, with people that know the movies, my wife included, but I always say I remember being younger and watching that film and always thinking that they were like grown-ups, like they're adults, because I think I was so young, so I looked at them as like older people. But when I got older and watched it, I'm like, oh, they're like 17-year-old kids. You know what I mean? But like they're just like so much more like, I guess, mature looking when you're a younger kid. But it's just funny because I never looked at them when I was a little kid as like being teenagers. I looked at them as like, oh, these are these are adults, right? With just wild hair and clothes. But no, I was like, oh wow, this movie, they're all kids. That's like the thing, they're all kids. But it's just funny, like those little things, you know?
Definitely right. And the sad thing is I totally agree with you. But when I watch it now, I still think to myself, like, yeah, we're the same age.
Yeah,
Like, I look at Mike and I'm like, oh yeah, we're about the same age.
Yeah,
like literally he's supposed to be 16, 17 years old, and I'm thinking that we're like roughly the same age now.
Right. Yeah, man. You look at like Kiefer, I'm like, yeah, Kiefer's like my age in his 30s, right? And I'm like, where's my walker? You know?
Right. Like you're thinking to yourself, like I could probably like be in that group right now, walking a boardwalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But it's like it's one of those things. Like they said, it's just forever young, man. And that's the way it's gonna be. And being such a big fan of this movie, like, dude, I named my first son Corey. I mean, come on, that wasn't an accident, really. You know what I mean?
I knew, for people, if anyone's here, but for people who watch this later, possibly, I've always known you to be a big Corey Haim guy. You're always big Corey Haim,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually like Corey Haim, a lot of Corey Haim movies. I loved License to Drive. That was License to Drive was a big movie for me when I was a young kid too. It was like one of those movies that would be on like recorded on a VHS that I would pop in from time to time and watch that one too. That was a good one, but not to get off subject of Lost Boys, but
No.
I remember that being like a good like Corey Haim movie that I always liked. Silver Bullet was another one that I really liked.
Yeah, man.
Silver Bullet's like one of my favorite. I mean, if we ever go werewolf, it would be Werewolf in London, The Howling, and Silver Bullet are my top 3 like werewolf films.
Yeah, I agree totally on those. And, talking about Corey Haim is great because, again, he's just somebody that doesn't get his due, I think, when it comes to, what he was doing back then. And, you think about some of his later stuff and it's like, man, but like he was top notch, as a young kid. I mean, Dream a Little Dream. I know he wasn't the main star, but had a good role in it. Silver Bullet, like you said, License to Drive, that was a big one for me as a kid. But another one that people don't think about is Lucas, which is a friggin' phenomenal movie.
Yeah.
If anybody hasn't seen it. So, to give a little bit of, props to Corey Haim, I don't think he gets enough love, sadly. And, it sucks. It is what it is, rest in peace. And we do have people bumping in the chat here. So I'm going to kind of go over there and just say what's up to everybody really quick. Cool. So, what we got? Let me look around here. So we've got Pizzal. What is up, Garrett and Vincent? What's up, man? He says, I still believe. Me too. Mike Derby. So Derby says, what is up, guys? What's up, man? We got Justin Ryan saying, hey, guys, what's up? Lost Boys Perfection. I still believe. I like this.
Yeah,
Dead Kid Radio sings Cry Little Sister. Yo, you want us to sing it? Maybe later. And then we got Christian Hanahara coming in. And he's saying what's up too. And he's saying Howling is #1 werewolf movie. I'm going to go out and say I agree. I talked about this. We did a video with Wes talking about Scream Factory last week. And we talked about werewolf movies. And growing up, American Werewolf was always my favorite. But now Howling has become #1 to me. And it was not most of my life. It was always American Werewolf. But I'll have to agree with him.
American Werewolf I've always been the same way, and I always thought American Werewolf in London was my #1, and it still kind of is, but Howling kind of like they go like this for me because I'm a really big fan of how the werewolf looks in Werewolf in London. I think it's very scary looking. Still to this day, it's a very intimidating looking wolf, and I think like it became so popular because of the design of that wolf. You know what I mean? And it's such a distinct looking, like the way they made it. Where like The Howling is a great film, but the werewolves they're very well done, but they look like a wolf. Where like the one in Werewolf in London looks like a menacing, like just. I'll show you later. I actually got an American Werewolf in London head mounted on my wall.
I do want to see this.
Yeah. So
and I totally agree with the wolf aspect of it. I think what it was for me is the turning point on The Howling and American Werewolf was, I think when I was a kid, I kind of found Howling a little bit more, it was kind of boring a little bit to me. And now that I'm watching it as an adult, like the tone of them being like at the beach again, and it's like, they're on that little retreat or whatever, and things start happening. Like to me, like I just find it.
You understand it. You understand it.
Yeah,
you understand it. Yeah.
It's like a comfort movie in a sense. It's just got a good tone to it, and I don't know. I don't know why it took me so long to really, grab the love for that one.
It's like it's got to feel like Stand By Me, but horror.
Yeah,
like that mellow. that mellow build to everything, but it's enjoyable. Yeah.
Yeah, so people are chiming in saying stuff. They love Silver Bullet. What's up, man? He says, oh, yeah, that's right. Jay Flesher says, Dream Machine, Fast Getaway 1 and 2. Yeah, Prayer of the Roller Boys, if we're still going to talk about Corey Haim stuff. But yeah, so anyway, as we kind of get on, again, so I've known this dude for quite a while. If you guys don't know him, check out Ring of Honor. He's on there killing it. And he's from my area, so I've known him quite a bit. I did some indies for like a cup of coffee, like probably 10 years ago, maybe 11 years ago. And I first met him there. And we didn't really talk too much there. But then when you started finding out, like, hey, this dude loves wrestling, this dude loves horror, you know, that kind of hooked up in, with each other. And then we both were kind of dabbling in the fitness industry at the time. So, you know, kind of all three of those, fitness, wrestling, and horror, kind of, you know, got us to connect. So pretty much stayed in touch here and there. This dude hooked me up with a sick glass case, which I still have in this new house over there with all my some props in there. So yeah, man. So we got Chris Visa Snowboard Academy. We're still, guys, we gave Corey Haim a little bit of love, and people are going ape with this Corey Haim stuff right now. I love it. Okay, so again, LoSt Boys, that's why we're here. Again, we're talking about the love for the film. It seems like everybody in this chat right now is a big fan of the LoSt Boys. What I wanted to do with him now is kind of talk about maybe people we've met from the movie, people we haven't, our experience with them. I know he's got some cool stuff, guys, that I want to talk about when it comes to some collection pieces for the LoSt Boys. So really quick, we kind of talked about how we found out about this movie. And how about you, man? Like, how many people have you met from this movie?
I've met pretty much. I met Brooke McCarter, Billy Worth, Alex Winter, Corey Feldman. Is it James Newslander? Is that his name?
Yep, Jason Newlander. Yep.
Jason. Mm-hmm. I met him. I met our saxophone boy,
G-Tom Mac.
G Tom.
G Tom, and then it's Capello.
Yeah, Capello. I never met Kiefer or Jason Patrick, or obviously Jamie Gertz, because she just is never to be found anyway. But my experience actually when I did meet them was kind of cool and kind of funny. I met them at a LoSt Boys reunion in Atlantic City.
They were going to say that. Okay.
Yeah. They were at, there was the horror convention there, right in one of the casinos, hotels, or whatever it was. But I brought the items that I have, the LoSt Boys jackets, and it was cool, man, because like we were amped to go there. It was this big loss, and you know, knowing me being such a big fan, my wife's just as equal as a big fan as I am of the LoSt Boys, and like I come walking up with these jackets and these, like, you know, because I wanted to get them, you know, signed to get displayed. You know, I'm a huge nerd. I love all this stuff, so I go there with them in these bags. And like Brooke instantly just like drops everything he's doing or whatever he's doing at the table. He runs around the table. And he's like, "No way that you have these." He's like, "Whether they're screen used or not, these are them." And he's like,
yep.
So I brought it over. He brought me over to the table right away to show like I believe it was his girlfriend at the time, maybe. And Billy
blonde.
Yeah, and Billy Worth, and like he's showing them, because I had the Billy Worth one, Alex Winter one, and the Brooke McCarter one, and he's showing those guys like the jackets, and like they started trying them on, like they're like, "Can we try these on?" Which you know, when I got them, they're not very big, because like I got them kind of based off the sizes they were in the film. Mm-hmm. So, and we can get into that, but yeah, I brought him over there, and so they signed him. They tried him on. Like we took pictures with them in it, and like after that, they invited us to the private after party with Billy and Brooke, and it was just those guys in the after party. So we went and hung out with them afterwards, and it was a good time, man. They were great dudes. Like it was cool to just kind of like, you know, shoot the shit and just, you know, talk about like the, history of the film, some experiences they had on the film and whatnot. And, you know, all those stories is like, if anybody in here has ever seen interviews where they say like, they like pretty much slept all day in the hotel room like vampires and pretty much like curtained off their windows and lived like vampires and partied all night. It's literally I think they said like they got that sleep all day, party all night from the way they were filming that film. So it was like, it was pretty bizarre, man. It was pretty cool, and it was a great experience. And they were great people. You know what I mean? They were very humble and very inviting. You know, felt like you know they were just my buddies from back home. You know, so it was cool to kind of have that. Like, they made the experience just being there like a whole lot of fun for us. You know what I mean? And my wife was like 7 months pregnant, so she was like,
she at that time?
Yeah, and she was having a blast with a big old belly, you know. But it was a good time, man.
Yeah, man. So it's funny that you bring that up because I was there actually, but I was there, I think, the day before you. I was there Friday. I believe it was Friday. If it was like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday thing, I was there. I believe Friday. Did you get there like Saturday, or were you there Sunday?
I think I did Saturday. I did a Saturday. I think I think I might have did like maybe a late Friday and like in an all day Saturday kind of thing. Maybe I think that's what it might have been. It was something like that. I know I did 2 days, but like one day, whatever the main day was definitely Saturday. And I'm trying to figure out if like it was maybe a little bit Sunday and we left, or maybe came in late on Friday. One of those two, but.
Yeah, so I missed you because what happened was when I saw that reunion in the lineup, and then they were going to do like a live concert with G-Tom Mac and Corey Feldman was going to play and all this stuff. I bought like this VIP pass to be like part of the after party, this, that, and this. And what was crazy is that I totally forgot that my wife's cousin's wedding was that Saturday.
Oh man!
So what happened was a couple buddies and we drove down Friday so I could meet them and then go to the after party Friday night where they did like the live concert and stuff. So we did that. But when I got there was a lot of travel issues with some people and like some of them weren't there. So I don't think like Jason Newlander like hadn't shown up. I don't think like Chance wasn't there.
No,
like there's a lot of people that were advertised that weren't there. And I was kind of pissed because I was like, oh my God, I wanted to meet these guys, which granted I was able to meet them again. So it wasn't that big of a deal. But at the time I was kind of ticked off. But
yeah,
I'm trying
to remember if I feel like I might have like mentioned I was going there to you or something. I have a feeling like
I do.
We might have said something to each other. You know what I mean about being there, and then like we never ran into each other or something or whatever it was, but. That explains it.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So that's why I figured you probably went the busy day. So this was like all Friday night. So like this had just opened. I think it was like a brand new convention at Atlantic City at the time.
Yep.
And so I went to the after party, and Corey Feldman did like a live concert. G-Tom Mac did a live concert. All the dudes were kind of just hanging around, like we were taking selfies, and they were just like walking around talking to people. So it was super cool. And like you said, they were super down to earth, like. Billy Worth and, Brooke McCarter, like they were super cool.
They were really
and so they were kind of hanging around there, and we did like these red carpet photos afterwards. And then what ended up happening was we had to leave to come back. So I basically drove up with some friends, met them, went to this after party thing, and then we started driving home like at 4 a.m. on Friday so I could get back to go to that wedding. So that was kind of the experience that I had there at the time. But it was, it was cool for what it was, but I do wish that I was able to kind of stay those next couple days. But yeah, I mean, I'll just dive into some stuff here. I have some stuff laying out here that I had signed that were pretty unique, and I just want to kind of throw them out there before we get to your goodies.
Yeah, let's see them.
All right, so this is – I did meet Tim Capello. I think I actually met him. If Piz Owl is still in here, tell me the name of that convention. Was it Mad Monster Party? Because him and I were there. So let me know. We met. yeah, we met him at I think it was Mad Monster Party. I think I flew down to like, I don't even know where it was. If you're in here, let us know. But I got some baby oil signed.
That's perfect. That's
Tim
perfect.
Capello, see?
Yeah.
So I got some baby oil signed. So I have this, and it's actually displayed in that nice glass case that you you got me there.
Yeah, when I met him, man, he was awesome. I met him at a Rock and Shock over in Worcester. There, you've been many times, but he was very, very nice. I mean, my daughter was 2 when we brought her with us, and he gave her a pin. He was so nice to her, and he was a very, very nice guy, man. Like, I was like, wow, this dude's like the man. You know what I mean? And he had his like saxophone, he had his like his purple tights on. I'm like, he's got it. If you're gonna do it, then do it. You know what I mean? Like he had the right
man.
idea.
He was
cool.
He's living the gimmick now, no question. I mean, he really is. But he was like MIA for years. Like no one could find that guy, and he just kind of, I don't know how he was found, but he just kind of came back, and that convention that we went to where I got that baby oil, he actually played live there too. So that was kind of a cool experience as well. To see him, like he did like a full concert there, which was pretty neat. And a couple other things I have here is I met Corey Haim. I was lucky to meet Corey Haim twice. Once at Monster Mania, which was a big Lost Boys reunion there. Yeah. And then he was at Rock and Shock, and then he had passed away like probably. So I saw him at Rock and Shock in October, and I think he passed in March, I believe. But I was lucky enough to get my DVD signed. So, I keep the DVD around just because we've got
awesome
Def By Stereo, Corey Haim here. So this DVD ain't going away anytime soon.
Right.
So I was able to kind of get that. I got some 8x10s and stuff done. But another cool item that I have here that I was able to get signed was by the late Edward Herman, who played Max.
Oh, yeah.
I met him at Horror Hound Weekend, which was the only Horror Hound I had ever been to. And again, it was another convention. I flew there with my buddy Derby, I think he's still in the chat. And we went down there, and I think it was in Illinois, I believe. And we met him there. And the reason we really went was because the main guest was Jason Patrick, but he canceled. So that kind of sucked because we were going there for him. He canceled, but still got to meet Edward Herman Max, and I got this cool item signed. So got a big jar of garlic here, and
that's
creative,
man. That's creative. There. Yeah, that's definitely creative.
I like garlic. It says I like garlic, but this is a little much, he said. And he signed that. So that's another cool item I have, because not only has he passed, but again, I try to I get 8x10s and stuff there. Yeah, like I get 8x10s and all that other junk, but to have something different, like I said, with the baby oil, now I got the garlic and stuff like that. So to have something unique is always a plus. And like you said, we'll talk about your unique items as well.
More like the prop stuff, I always think that's cool as well.
Right.
So like anything unique you can kind of get out of it, that's always cool to me. Stuff that you could display, it's always kind of cool, because it's almost like,
definitely,
you know what I mean? It's almost like if you pulled out that if you saw that garlic thing on the table, it's almost like, oh, I remember that. That was the thing, the garlic thing on the table. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things, like where it's cool to have those kind of different stuff.
Definitely, and Derb's in the chat. He said it was in Indiana, so that's where it was. But a couple other cool things. I mean, I'll run through quick. Like none of this is signed. I'll get into my big item in a minute. But I don't remember where I got this, but I got the Laddie.
Yeah.
Carton. I'm not sure. I forget where I got that. I'm sure you probably have these too, because they're pretty readily available now. You can get the comics. I don't know if you've seen them, but if you don't have them, Bottleneck Gallery, I think, still has them, and you can get them there. And it's a full comic. You can get both of them. You can get them a lenticular cover or a regular. So I got the whole, the whole set of them. So so definitely worth getting if you don't have this.
Man,
I think they're available.
That reminds me of those photos, or the milk cart reminds me of those photos I made and never watermarked them, and they're everywhere.
We're gonna talk about that too, because I will be the person to give you full credit on that. So we'll talk about it now really quick. So I'm I'm going to give props to a company, Santa Carla Boardwalk. It was a company that I became friends with the guy who ran it. And I'm not sure if they're still doing props and shirts and all this other stuff. But again, big Lost Boys guy. This dude, he sent me a onesie for my baby when he was born that he made with Corey Haim on it. Like, he would hook me up with shirts if, I wore them to meet Lost Boys characters and took a picture. So he would send me, actually, you know what? This might be his too. So if you can see here, got a little, I don't know if this is his.
Max's video store?
Yeah, it could be pretty his, awesome. But he sent me a lot of shirts, because I was doing that kind of stuff. So if he's out there, I believe, man, I hope I don't get this wrong, but I think it's Kyle, but I could be wrong. And so he sent me this thing. He had like a little carton that had Alex Winter on it. Yeah, Alex Winter was on the carton. I think I even may have given you one of them. I don't remember. I gave a couple away because he sent me a few of them.
Maybe it was. Maybe I think it was you that gave it to me. I think it is.
Do you have that carton?
Yeah,
you still have it or no?
Okay.
So maybe it was you who I gave it to. So, on the carton it had Alex Winter, but he was he pre-vamp on the carton? I forget. I have it over there.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Which is what I liked about it.
Right. Which is what was cool is it was a missing poster because he was pre-vampire. So what this dude did was he made all these flyers that had all these missing flyers for the Lost Boys pre-vamp.
Yeah.
And he made these things, and I remember him sending them to me and being like, "Hey, does this look good here? Should I add this image here? Should I do this?" And I was like, "No, those look great." Da da da. And he made those things, and I don't know what you ended up doing with them besides the fact that they're somehow still on the internet. Because,
dude, one day I was just bored, and I remember the milk carton thing. I was like, yeah, that's a pretty cool. You know what I mean? I wonder if I can make something myself and just kind of frame them or something. I was just bored one day, and I was just kind of doing some fun stuff, And I ended up making. I remember you were the person that I sent it to, and I think I just like posted it somewhere or whatever, and then like it didn't do anything for a little while, but then they ended up everywhere. They're on the internet, they're on Google, they're on everywhere, Etsy, and I was like, holy shit, man! I did it as kind of like a out of boredom, and I didn't even I never even got them printed to frame. I just made them that day, and that's kind of where they stayed. And I ended up seeing them everywhere, man. It was crazy. But
yeah, I mean, people are like you said, Etsy had them. Like, there's even people I think on Etsy that were selling them and all this stuff. But what's funny is that there's certain things on there that no question I knew they were yours. Like, you know what I mean? Like, anybody could put a picture of the dude on there and whatever. Yeah. But there was certain things because, like I said, you would come into me and be like, "Hey, should I add this here? Should I?" So I knew right away that those were yours. And what's funny is, you Google like Lost Boys missing pictures, and I bet they all come up. And I've seen people post pictures of like seeing them on like on a telephone pole like up in California, like stapled there and stuff. So these things made their rounds, and it's too bad that you didn't get any credit for those at all.
Nuts, man.
And the funny thing was, like you said, they didn't do anything, and all of a sudden, like 5 or 6 years later, maybe even more, they started popping up. And it's like
they came out like years later after I made them, and I even remember like even the names are kind of like pulled out of a hat. Like I kept the first names that you know of in the film, but like middle names and last names, I made that up. I just made them up.
I didn't even know that much, but that's even more of a reason that it's so funny.
So,
right?
Whoever takes credit for that now, you're welcome.
That's true. I totally on point. It is funny because you got anybody right now can Google them. I guarantee you find them. And Apollo Balboa, 1985, says he's jumped in and says, "Hey gents, I did the Lost Boys tour last year. I went to the comic book store and held the actual Vampires comic everywhere." That's cool, so thanks for bringing that up, man. Because I don't know about you, but I have never been to Santa Cruz, and it's one of those things that's been on my bucket list for like 20 years.
1,000%. Same thing, man. And I've literally traveled the world except for Santa Cruz. It's the only place I've never been to, man, and I'm dying to go.
Well, what's crazy too is it's not like it's not like it's a dream. Like, oh, someday I hope to get there. Like, dude, we could go there tomorrow if we wanted to. Like, that's what's the crazy part about it is like I have this thing. It's like, oh, this is a bucket list thing for me. I need to make sure I get it done before that boardwalk ever gets torn down, you know?
Right.
But there's really no excuse. In actuality, it's like we can pay for a flight, go and have fun. But I don't know. I don't know why I've never been there. But what's as funny is that will take us to the next item that I'm going to show because I had a client of mine who did travel there. Awesome. And she got me sand from the beach.
That's awesome.
That from the movie right on the boardwalk. So she sent me pictures of the boardwalk. She was on the boardwalk. She sent me pictures of her at the bottom of those steps that the motorcycles drove down, putting the sand inside that bottle for me. So that's Alyssa, cool. I know you're not watching it, but thanks for that. And that's another piece that I still have in that nice glass case that you gave me. So that's the next thing on my list is sand from the beach that they filmed awesome. The Lost Boys on. But yeah, that is definitely somewhere that I want to go. Now maybe having my son, it's like more of an excuse because it can be like a family vacation type of thing.
Right.
But someday I'll definitely get there.
Same. Hoping sooner than later.
And if anybody hasn't, check out if anybody knows, I know Derby's in here. He knows the exact name of this YouTuber. His name is Grim, and he just basically travels to all these areas when movies are filmed and does like documentaries. Yeah, it's kind of very similar to Sean Clark's Hallowed Grounds, but he just did a Lost Boys one that's badass. So I think it's Grim Life Collective. You saw it, right?
Yeah. And there's another guy.
Super cool.
There's another guy too that I'm actually buddies with. Well, not buddies, but like through social media we have spoken with each other, you know. But he Scott on Tape. Do you know him as well?
I've heard of him actually.
Yeah, so he goes to a bunch of locations too, and like I'm a big like true crime guy, so like I like going on there and seeing like all the true crime places he visits too. So but yeah, man, like I did see the one that you're talking about as well, and he gets some details in there. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that is really cool. And again, that'd be something I would love to do is some kind of like vlog of all those different areas and stuff. So definitely still on the bucket list for me, for sure. But we'll keep rolling on this thing. And if anybody has anything they want to jump in and say, let us know. My big item here, I just want to showcase actually really quick. This was something I got from a client for my birthday this year, actually, which is kind of funny. So I opened up, I got a random thing in the mail, and she sent me this, which is a poster. It was actually the original poster from John Alvin that was presented to the studio for Lost Boys that
really
never cut. So, wow. Yeah. So she had gone onto this dude's site, and he has like I guess he's selling some now, and she ended up grabbing that for me. So it's a pretty cool print.
That's a rare item for sure. Yeah, man, that's sick. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I was like,
that's crazy. I've never seen that. It's the first time I've ever seen that.
I'll show it to you. And again, I think they're still available.
See it.
It says "Stop Vampires." It's just a stop sign.
Right.
So cool. It is pretty cool. And I just remember saying, how do you know me so well that you would find that and get that for me? I just thought it was interesting. And I do believe they're still available. So if you look for John Alvin, who actually did the artwork, I think he's got some on his site now that might still be available. I know they were limited, but I think there might be some left.
Oh, did you lose me?
I lost you, man.
Hold on. There we are.
All good. All right. So will we ever get Lost Girls? Probably not. I don't think so. But hey, who knows? Maybe. I guess. Yeah. I do have this cool item too, and I think you have one as well.
Oh, no. So I sold the one that I made, but that one.
Oh, you had one?
That one is awesome. Can I see that again?
So I bought this on, I don't remember if it was eBay, but it was a long time ago. I wonder if it has any kind of but it's pretty detailed. It's super cool. And it kind of has the look of, that he was going for, that it was found in the cave, under sand. So it's got a really rough look to it.
That's great.
So that was something that I've had for a long time. And before we went live, I actually went online to see if you could find any of these. I was just curious if people did newer versions of this, and I couldn't find anything. So I think it was just one of those things that we kind of were lucky that we were doing this early because it's hard to get stuff now. And, and if you do, you're paying boatloads of money.
Yeah,
for
you scored that for sure at a good time.
And so speaking of that, I'll show you my big item here, and then we'll go to yours that I definitely want to talk about. So this is the movie poster, but it's probably one of my grails in like my whole collection. And I haven't showed it on my channel before. I have showed it on someone else's, but it's hard to see. It's, big 27 by 41 and poster, and it's got everybody on here except obviously the grandfather. Diane Wiest, I do not have her on that. And Jamie Gertz, which I don't ever think that's going to happen, which is unfortunate, but I would love it. But I've got Chase, Chance, Feldman, Brooke. I've got Alex Winter, Corey Haim, Billy Worth, Tim Capello, Newlander, Kiefer Sutherland, Edward Herman, Jason Patrick, and I even have Kelly Jo Minter, who is kind of a smaller role in that movie, but she's on this as well. So I have the whole crew on here.
She does the what scene is she in?
She was the girl in the video store. When they come in and says
register.
Yes, that's her. And what's funny is she's like in the opening credits, and I'm like, was she supposed to have a bigger role? Because super weird that she's in the opening credits.
She's in the movie The Principal. If you've ever seen that with Belushi there. Yep.
Yes.
She's got a pretty main role in that. Yeah, it's funny because I didn't know that was her until a little while after, actually. I ended up realizing who it was. But that's cool that you squeezed her in there. That's cool.
Yeah, so I met her at Monster Mania, and it was funny because she was like, oh, this is the only Lost Boys item I'm signed today. And, it is kind of one of those things that it is strange that she's like, I don't know, at the opening of the movie when they're driving around the car, they show like all the main cast and her name's in there. So you wonder if there's deleted scenes with her that we haven't seen, because it's just weird that she'd be credited right up front. And she had 0 lines.
There is a deleted scene with her in it.
There is?
Well, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but she's in the movie store and she's talking with Diane Wiest for a little bit. So there is a little extra scene in a deleted scene there, but which is pretty cool, definitely. I think that's when I finally realized who it was.
Mm-hmm.
Once I saw that, I realized like, oh, no kidding, it's that chick. But yeah.
So if anybody knows how to get a hold of Jamie Gertz, I need that sign. But I don't want to send it anywhere.
Anybody see her in a truck chasing tornadoes?
Dude, you know what's funny is I saw her, and I don't know the exact thing. Maybe and somebody in the chat. She was on she was on a show on ESPN, and she said like owner of like an NBA team or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I don't think she's gonna be coming around.
Yeah, she's hiding out for sure.
Derby, you're too funny. All right, you want to tell that inside joke? Okay. So it's my friend Derby. I'm sure you remember him there then. Yeah. So we watched it was like one night or something, like we were younger, and he was like at my house. We were watching Lost Boys with the captions on. I don't know why we were, but there's one scene where David's in the wheelchair and they're in the cave, and he says, "Take me for," what does he say? "Give me a ride, Marco," whatever. But the closed captions say, "Give me a ride, Michael." So we had like this inside joke where it's like, man, if you were deaf and watched this movie, you'd be so confused at like what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, no, he told Michael to give him a ride. It's super weird.
I've noticed that too. I think I've seen it in the subtitles too. And I was like, I remember it must have been my wife, but I remember looking at her and being like, he definitely says, "Give me a ride, Marco." I don't know why.
Yeah.
I remember. I've seen that too. That's funny that you guys have the same.
Dude, it's like one of those inside jokes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's funny.
But yeah, so that is that's my big grail piece right there. Like I said, just because it is my favorite movie, I've been able to meet pretty much the whole cast, especially these ones that are past. Like, man, like Brooke McCarter, Corey Haim, Edward Herman, like they're all gone. So I just got really lucky to been able to meet them at an early time. So Yeah, so what do you got here? Oh, Justin says Solar Babies. I was just talking about that movie today, and the Blu-ray is so out of print for whatever reason. I have no idea, and I wish I didn't miss it out on it. But yeah, so one of the big reasons I wanted to bring you on here is because, the love for the movies, and I knew I wanted a way to kind of showcase my collection and some of the cool stuff I have. I've got a bunch of other stuff like different artwork and posters and all that other stuff, but these are just some of the cool items that I thought were different that I wanted to kind of bring to the table.
For sure.
And then maybe I'll do like a bigger one someday and go through everything I have. But you have some pretty badass pieces. I don't know if you still have all of them or not, but I definitely wanted to get you in here so we can showcase those. I don't know how good it's going to show with the. I know you said they're shadow boxes.
We will make it work. Hold on.
And I want you to talk about them and just showcase them, and then tell us a story about the origin of them.
Okay. So first, let's look at the American Werewolf in London.
Dude, it's so sick. Your movie cave is killer, dude.
And then I got I'll just run through everything really quick so everybody can see it. So out of Halloween, before we get to LoSt Boys, out of Halloween, my favorites were the first one, obviously. I love the second one, and I love part 6. Those are my 3 favorite Halloween masks, like the looks that he's had. And obviously, you have this as well. And this is my Charlie Manson. And then these are some of my favorite Friday the 13th. So part 6, I always like that look. Part 7, I always like that look. Part 9, I don't really care for the movie, but I loved how he looked when he was Jason. So I always thought that was kind of rad. Part 4 is actually my probably all-time favorite Jason.
Oh, hell yeah, me too.
So I still got to get that mask, but it's between part 4 and 6 are my 2 favorites. This is screen used. This is from Puppet Master 2.
You know what? Puppet Master 2 is my favorite out of the franchise, to be honest. It always was.
Me as well.
Oh, look at that.
So I scored this. This is actually on eBay, and I scored the body on like a thread, like a movie thread, kind of like those threads how they sell stuff. So I ended up scoring the body later. So this is a pretty sweet piece.
Dude, that's sweet.
And Creepshow is one of my favorite things. I just put this little Creepshow thing together. I'm not a big figures guy, but I thought it was pretty sweet to do that too.
That's cool, man.
And then this is I'm not a big I'm just running you guys through this. I figured why not, since I'm already in here.
I love it. Let's do it.
This is my all-time favorite zombie movie. I'm not a big zombie guy at all. I don't even care for zombie movies much. But the Tom Savini 1990 remake of Night of the Living Dead is my all-time favorite. If you're gonna, what's your favorite zombie movie? That's my favorite zombie movie of all time.
It's a cool poster too.
And I've got, I like the colors. Like it's got sick colors. But like I actually went to the house and everything in the farm and all that for that film. It was pretty awesome. So here is the LoSt Boys, my LoSt Boys items. So that's the Marco jacket, and then it comes down, and I have the soundtrack signed by G-Tom. G-Tom actually sent me this in the mail, oddly enough. We were talking via text, and
of course he did.
Yeah, we were talking via text, and I didn't bring the CD with me, I think it was. So I ended up sending him the CD, and he mailed it back to me, which is really sweet. I thought that was cool. And
that's cool, man.
This is Brooks, and this is like signed by Brooke, and he has his little character name there, but this is his jacket. So I'll give you guys a little. So this jacket I have since I was a little kid. This had a big part on why I love the movie so much. It's a weird thing, but it was one of those things that it just stood out to me so much that I was like, man, that jacket is badass. And I don't know. I mean, for literally my whole life, if there was one item I could get from a movie, it was this for the longest time. So I handmade this entire thing myself. I handmade it by like sewing, not like no paint or anything like that. Everything. So these these tapestries, if and you can barely find them, and so there's different versions of it. Actually, I talked to Alex Winter about this, and he said that he had one and he lost it, which I can understand, man, because like when I have old wrestling gear, it might be cool to someone, but I'm just throw it in a box and I forget all about it. So I guess it's like, you know what I mean? But I was like, you lost it. It's crazy. But I ended up doing the research with this kid, Brandon. Do you know the kid, Brandon, that I talked to?
I know of him. I've never spoken to him, but I know who he is. Yeah.
So for like a year, man, like I was like, we were going back and forth and we were like, because I saw him actually doing it and he found out what the items were. And that's how I started it. And I was like, well, I got to get my hands on this somehow. I could do this. Like, if I want it that bad, I'll get it done, you know? But I did so much research and I ended up scoring, the leopard and like the matador and the peacock and the patches. There is a place that makes these patches, but I actually went on eBay and like would search every so often, eBay and Etsy, 1986 motorcycle patches. And so these are original patches from the 80s. These aren't like I didn't send these to a company and they just remade them and whatever. These are actually legit patches from the 80s that were same ones that were used to make his, not the ones that were on his, but the same like actual authentic like 80s stuff. And this here, this one here with the little like snake lady there that you see, which was one of the, to me, always stuck under my head on the jacket because it's such a vibrant thing that's on there. So it always stood out to me as a kid. That was very hard to find. Very hard to find. It was nowhere. Like it wasn't on eBay. It wasn't on Etsy. I ended up Googling it. I ended up doing like, I was like jungle lady, snake lady, all this like crazy stuff I was typing in. And I ended up seeing a picture of it and there was a number listed on the thing. And I ended up calling it and it directed me to this random warehouse. And I said, hey, I'm looking for a specific tapestry from the 80s. I don't know if you guys would even have that in your thing. I mean, this is like 2000. I'm looking for this at this time at like 2012-ish, 13-ish.
Yeah.
And like I'm you probably don't have it, but I figured I'd check. And he said, well, if I give you a number, can you text me the picture of what you're talking about? And I said, sure. I texted him the picture of what I'm talking about. It was maybe an hour or two later. He sent me back a text of it laid out on the floor. He's like, this? And I was like, yes. He's like, I have 3 of them. I was like, give me all 3 of them.
It's crazy.
Because in my mind, I was like, if I mess up on one, at least it has some extras. But I ended up giving one to Brandon because me and Brandon were kind of helping each other out, kind of researching so much shit and trying to get like the original stuff. Again, not that was on the jacket, but that was used like literally from the 80s. Like, yes, this was the exact thing that was used to make this jacket. So we were helping each other out, like trying to like, oh, I found this for you. I'm like, okay, I got this for you. And we would like send stuff back and forth to each other if we had extras or whatever the case may be. But yeah, man. So like this is an actual 40, a size 40, which was the same exact size that Alex Winter wore in the film. And it is the exact kind of jacket, the 1980s Levi's trucker red tab jacket, black, which was used. I sound like a nerd, but I love it.
Dude, no, this is perfect.
And these squiddlers were a nightmare to find too, because this one was correct, but this one where it's like the blue purplish with the orange reddish kind of color was a nightmare to find like together, because it was either like you could either get pink and it was like pink and purple, or like it was never the colors you were looking for that were used. And I ended up scoring one on eBay, which was actually already beat up and kind of dirty looking, so I didn't really have to weather anything. And then all this detail as far as like the shredding and stuff goes, all that stuff was me. So that I did all that. That was just all me doing it. And I even like all the way down to like some of the stitching on this was like, I really paid attention to how, like, I really did a lot of research to get it like exactly where it was placed. Like exactly like I would look to see like, okay, this patch lands on Ray, it touches
Right.
the eye. You know what I mean? I was really, really meticulous about it because, like this, like I said, this was as crazy as it sounds. This was the one item that I've wanted since I was a little kid. So this,
Yeah,
like,
for
I had
sure.
and it was a fun project for me. You know what I mean? Like me and Brandon, I think it took me about a year to complete it, but me and Brandon, like, you know, it was a really fun project and we had a lot of fun doing it. It was just a good time, man. And I ended up bonding with him, and he's a really good dude, man. And he made some other sick props from other movies, but and then the back of it has that Cleopatra tapestry where it's like the Cleopatra like laying down. Like it's a pretty it's a pretty like focal point too on the jacket in the film. But that one, I got the original one on the back of this too, which was very hard to find. I ended up scoring that on eBay. Believe it or not, it was one and it was bagged and that was it. And I was just like, boom, and I got it like as quick as I possibly could. I got lucky because I never.
How many patches do you think total on that thing?
Oh, I don't know. If we're going by little patches, I mean, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yeah, there's about 22, 23 patches on the front of this jacket.
Plus the main tapestries there, right?
Yeah, plus the main tapestries, which are more. These are all like so these are kind of separated. So like the peacock's one out here, but it's also part of this and this. Like it was kind of like they're kind of all the different parts are kind of scattered, like Matador there, but Matador here. Yeah, that's good. That's my favorite piece that I have. And then so down here is the Brook jacket, and this one here, it's funny because like this is the exact chain that if you look at pictures or you look at the film, it's the same kind of I forget what they call it. There's a specific kind of crazy name for the chain itself, but this here is just a like 1980s like concho belt, like a woman's concho, and it's the exact design as Brooks in the film. So they use the same exact concho belt that's on this jacket that was in the movie The Lost Boys, and that goes for these two as well. And then here, obviously, was just safety pin stuff. And then he had the two smaller chains with like pieces of. If anybody ever wonders and they ever want to make this thing, these here are pieces of old antique drawers without the handles.
Oh, wow. So crazy, man. Like just some of the stuff that they use, right?
Yeah. So it's just safety pinned in there. And then the leather parts, this is part of a sleeve of a leather jacket. That's how they made that. So they just took a sleeve, laid it across, like cut it, laid it down, and then sewed it on. And then like they'd use like the little leather cuff here for that piece, and then the trim of the neck, which was half. But this is called a morning coat. So if you ever want to look it up and make your own, this one's not too hard to make. You could if you just find the exact chain from the 80s and the exact concho belt and then the antique drawers, you pretty much can make this on your own if you guys ever wanted something like this. But it's called a morning coat. That's what Paul wore in the movie, like an old-fashioned morning coat, like a suit jacket. So they called them because it has like the tails on the back. So the tails, and he has like a chain that goes from the back side too that are safety pinned in. But yeah, and yeah, man, it's kind of cool. And I remember Alex Winter told me the story about this jacket, basically saying that he was the first one to get picked for wardrobe. So when he went in there, they laid down the denim jacket and he literally picked out what he wanted on it. He just kind of threw stuff. They had a bin, and they had a bin with all his stuff in. So he was first up in wardrobe, and he picked out the stuff that he kind of figured, I'll throw this on there, throw that on there. And they pretty much, they put it together, obviously, what they wanted it to look like, essentially, wardrobe. But like they kind of, worked with him on that first. So yeah, they're pretty unique, but these are probably my favorite things that I have, just because it's my favorite movie, and I always kind of dug the, I dig the whole like look of it. So it's kind of cool. And I actually, I made like a different one that was kind of looked like this that I wore on Ring of Honor TV for a short amount of time. But I mean, I'm not as cool Alex Winter was in it, but you know, I tried, but you know, it's you know, this is where they kind of landed here now. But yeah, I did have the airbrushed leopard one that Billy Worth wore, but someone offered me a pretty good penny for it.
It's gone. That's gone.
It's gone. Yeah.
Oh.
But here's the thing: why I let it go is I know exactly the jacket and how to make it again. So it's one of those things that like
it's an easier make.
It's the easiest replacement than these. Do you know what I mean? Like this one, forget it. This one I could, but this one has the signature on it, so I wouldn't do it anyway. But this one I would never part ways with. Like you'd have, like, I don't know, might give up my house before I give up this. But yeah, this is my these are the you know, the coolest Lost Boys items I have. You know, and like you, I have the other little stuff like the milk carton stuff that you sent over, and like and you know, whatnot, all those little stuff. But these are my, you know, Lost Boys.
Now, did you never do David?
I did David. So I can actually, if anybody wants to ever do David too, I have exactly what the pendant is that hangs off of his jacket. One of the pieces is a watch, like an old watch for a button. I actually know the kind of watch that was used for that. So that's another one that I did do, and someone again offered me a decent price for it. So I parted ways with it, but it's not something so hard. Like he used a military trench coat, and then he had like the leather jacket underneath it. That it's a specific leather jacket that has a certain collar to it. But you know, I that's one that if I ever want again, like I could always redo that. You know what I mean? But yeah, this is like you know, a good year and a half right here. But completed. You know, everything is pretty much exactly where it would be. Like for this, I mean, most people think it's like from like screen used, but
right.
But I don't lie. I mean,
but at the same time, who else has that? You know what I mean? Like there's not. I'm gonna say I only know two people that have it. It's you and your buddy, right? And it's like, but at the same time, it's like, how many other people do you think?
Right, and I've seen some attempts floating around, but they're like I see them and I look at them and I know that I'm like, all right, that's close, but you know, close, but not there. You know what I mean? Because people make some cool ones though. I've seen some cool ones where it's based off of this jacket, but it's not the one like Marco wore. But they put their own spin on it, kind of, you know what I mean, with their own little style to it. Which there's some cool ones out there that people do that too. But no, this is like literally, like if you laid this down next to the screen used one, you would be like, which one is which? You know what I mean? Which is kind of what I was going for, you know?
Right.
But
I mean, no, definitely a cool passion project for sure. So like, again, it's one of those things. It's like that's one of like the things that pop in the movie. Like if you know the movie and you see that jacket, like you're gonna know that jacket before you know all the other dudes' jackets.
Yeah,
you know? And,
right.
So I mean, it's super cool, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to get you on here, because I just knew you had those things that, you know, that is very, very rare, and especially being a fan of this movie. You know, I wanted to get you on here to sweet talk you to make me one. And you know,
well, I still have those pieces. You know, I still have those.
Well, where's your junky Ring of Honor one? Is that laying around somewhere? I'll buy that one.
That was a pretty close one too, and I ended up somebody wanted it. You know, after a while of wearing it and stuff, so I ended up selling it because I wasn't gonna wear it anymore at the ring. But I still have your pieces, man, in a box. So. I mean, well, it's just, you know,
just chip away, man.
The thing that's so tough about it is finding everything. Right. Finding everything for this, like you almost have to do it, like, you know, a little bit. That's what I was doing. Like a little bit of the time, I'd spend like, you know, a certain amount of time each night, like, or whenever I had time to kind of look for the certain things that are those things, you know what I mean? Because like I was
send me a list. I'll find all the shit. Send it to you. You just gotta sew it.
I can send you a list. Yeah,
just sew it together.
I can send you a list, but yeah,
because man, that's the thing too. It's like you're pretty artistic, anyways, like in general. So I think like I look at that right there, and like for someone like me, like I couldn't even imagine like where I would be. I wouldn't even know where to start. You know what I mean? So I think having you're just an artistic guy. Like it probably came a lot more natural to you to be like, okay, I see how this cuts into here, so I'm going to do it that way. And you know,
and it was fun to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like it was all the way down to like, okay, so like I was like, all right, so this square that's like half green, half red lands near the matador's ankle with this green square under it. Boom, and I would put it there, and I'd pin it, and I would kind of like, all right, this 13 goes right at the little bit below the waist here. Boom, put that. You know what I mean? I was very like,
exactly.
All right, so this patch doesn't cover. Like you need to see some of the arm here, and then this doesn't touch, but this covers. So I was very meticulous about everything. It's insane, but I had a blast doing it, man. And it's pretty cool because when people come in here and they like, or people see pictures, you know, it's kind of cool because they, you know, a lot of people in my age range like love Lost Boys, so they get to see this kind of like, you know, reminds every Lost Boys fan of like, oh yeah, well, I remember Lost Boys is my movie, you know.
Yeah, I mean that jacket is definitely like, if I think of Grail pieces in my Lost Boys collection, again, it obviously I don't screen use stuff is cool, but like if it's a replica and it's really well done, I'm fine with it just because I would be too nervous having something literally like really screen used, like to have it, because I'm like, I wouldn't even want to put it on. You know what I mean? Like with something like that, which I could get away with like putting it on to go to a convention and come home and put it back in the case. Like I'd be okay with that. So like to me, that what you have is like a Grail piece to me. Anyways.
Yeah, man, and I never even worn this thing, man. Maybe I have. Did I ever wear it? I might have put it on at one of the conventions when I had like Brooke and stuff was with me, but I never really put it on because I was always afraid to like rip stuff on it.
Right.
I mean, I don't fit in it really. I mean, I can fit in it, but it's like snug on me. Because like I said, I kind of went off the sizes that like were used back then.
Right. So yeah,
they were smaller dudes then. So, but yeah, man, that's
awesome, man.
There,
that's killer. Another thing for anybody who's checking this out, and would know, one of my other Grail pieces is I want that jacket that Corey Haim wore when he went into the comic book store, that like robe that hung down. I've been looking for something very similar to that for years, and I don't even know what it's called. Is it like a woman's jacket? Is it a robe, like duster? Like what is that thing that he's wearing?
And like it's no different from when like, all right, so like sometimes I look for kind of wacky stuff for like my in-ring stuff, like whether I'm talking in front of the camera or whatever it is, but I'm always like looking for different stuff. And like that literally could have been something hanging on a rack in a thrift store that they took off the rack and just like, yeah, this looks like Corey could wear this for that scene. Honestly. And it's like, it could be a literally priceless thing that costs like nothing, but like, you know, it's just, it works for what it works for, and it's interesting. So it's like, you know, just finding those outlandish things. But yeah, it's almost it's like a gray and white one, right? That he wore. It was like gray and white.
Yeah, and it was like very light. Like it didn't seem like a jacket. I mean, it was, but it almost was like a robe or something.
It was flowy. It was very flowy looking.
Yeah. Like I want to walk into like a con with that on, like or something along the same lines. Like I have some things that I bought that are like that can kind of work, but nothing as cool as that. So
he had like,
and then
rolled up and stuff. I remember.
Yes. So, and it definitely had shoulder pads. So I'm down with that for sure.
Edward Herman style, man.
Hell yeah. And that's another one too. The Edward Herman blazer is pretty badass too.
Yeah.
Ken Carlson says, does anybody know where you can get a good replica similar to the Jason Patrick sunglasses? I mean, I think they've got to be out there. I haven't really looked, but it looks like a style that's got to be, had to have been just a regular style. And I think, what were they, silver with black? I don't remember.
Black with the little like silver thing there, but they're definitely like an 80s style sunglass. But clearly, I would do, if anybody's looking for anything from that movie, like I would just search as much 80s stuff as you possibly can, because anything that was put on jackets, anything that was used in that film, is clearly pulled from that time. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I would research anything 80s like that you can search or whatever. Like it was crazy when I was doing stuff for this jacket. The stuff that I was searching was just like, all right, pirate,
Right.
pirate patch with knife in mouth, skull patch, and it was just like, man, this is like a nightmare, But I ended up finding all of them, every single one of them. That was cool. Even this Viking patch, like that was like, I don't even know how I ended up grabbing it, but that's the one that's on the jacket. And this Viking patch and this fire skull patch is not on every single jacket in the movie. There's 4 jackets made for the film, and this is not on all of them. And then one jacket, this 13 has a hole in it, another one doesn't. This, sometimes the 13 is up here and sometimes it's right here. This one is based off of the one he wore majority of the film. When he actually gets stabbed, when he's upside down, this here, this matador thing, this is like 2 matadors holding a thing. You can't see it because the sleeve's in the way and stuff. But there's another one where the matador is facing this way, and it's a single matador, and that's the only jacket he wore. It's the one jacket that was worn only for that one scene is when he gets stabbed in the cave. So, which
badass, man.
Which is the version that Brandon ended up making. So
did he?
Yeah. So his is a little different than mine as far as.
So how many times did you have to pause that movie to try to figure this stuff out? A lot.
Oh yeah. What? Sorry, that whole year I must have watched it like a million times. Yeah, but I was like, we would like pause, but then we would like Google the pictures, and I would send him a picture, and he'd send me a picture, and he'd be like, zoom in on right there and look at that. That kind of looks like such and such. And it was a good time. It was fun. I ended up meeting him. He's a really good dude. His girlfriend was a really nice. It was.
So it's all right. I mean, you pretty much did it while during your wife's pregnancy. So I mean, killed. You were home.
Yeah, and that was the time where like I took some time away from wrestling. I wasn't wrestling much, so I was kind of trying to occupy my mind, because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. So it kind of kept me occupied. So I kind of look at this as that big project during that time in my life. You know what I mean? It was kind of like during a chapter of my life that was fun. You know what I mean? It was a fun.
Fun that's thing. Kind of interesting too, because again, I remember when you were kind of doing all this stuff, and you had really gotten out of wrestling to a point where, like, at that time, you would have never thought you'd be doing it now.
Oh, I thought I was done, man. I thought I wasn't going to go back, but. I think once my daughter was born and everything kind of settled, I just kind of felt like, I was like, it's still there. You know what I mean? I was like, it's still right here. I gotta, like, there's something, but unfortunately I just was like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm going to get back into this, and we're going to work this out. So,
well, I mean, good thing you did, because you got to look at pre you feeling that way, and then post, it's like you came back better than ever, which is crazy.
Yeah, it was nothing was wrong with anybody else. It was me. I just kind of was like, oh, I don't, nothing was really like sticking for me, and I just came back with a different mindset, trying to have fun, and try to make the best of it and work hard, and stuff kind of, I just. It was either, it came in with the just mindset, like, I'm doing this or I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, because before I was kind of like so back and forth, and that's what kind of like pushed me out of it, to be like, all right, I need to take a step away for a minute and just, see where I'm at, and, and take care of my stuff and take care of my wife, and, get stuff situated. And then I went back, but yeah, it's been awesome ever since, though.
Yeah, man.
Good.
But yeah, really quick, Dead Pit asked if we collect anything from the sequels. Not really, but I will say the only thing I do have from the sequels, I have both original posters, and at Comic-Con, they did like a screening for both of those. And I ended up they gave out like free headbands that say Lost Boys the Tribe and Lost Boys the, I don't even remember what the other one was called now. But yeah, so I have those.
I do not have anything from the sequels of the Lost Boys, nor the DVD, nor nothing. because I just couldn't get into it.
I mean, it's not the same, I'll tell you that.
No, it's not.
But yeah, man, we've been rocking about an hour and 10 minutes on here talking Lost Boys. I think we should probably wrap it up because unless there's anything else you want to say, I'll definitely leave it with you kind of letting people know where to find you.
Yeah, man, that was actually really fun, and that kind of flew by. I didn't even realize we were talking that long,
right?
But that was a good time, man. It was kind of cool to catch up with you and talk about this cool stuff that we have and that we love so much, and it's really cool. And yeah, if you guys want to check me out, you can look me up on Twitter. It's at the Horror King VM. Instagram is the Righteous Vincent, with the U being a V in righteous, and Facebook is Righteous Vincent. And any ROH, we have Honor Club. You can sign up for Honor Club for $9.99 a month. Check me out on there. We got pay-per-view Best in the World coming up. Takes place in Baltimore on July 11th, which will be the first time with live crowds, man.
Oh wow, yeah.
Pretty excited.
So wait, so how's that been as a performer? Like, has it been tough for you?
It's
like just saying, like wrestling, doing shows with no crowd.
At first, it was a little. It was just different, man. You know what I mean? And I think it was kind of cool to have, like, you're able to adapt to it. You know what I mean? And I think it kind of, if anything, I think it kind of made everyone kind of like step it up. You know what I mean? And we're kind of and just kind of having to adapt to it because it was so different for us. You know what I mean? So I think everybody did great adapting to the situation that we had to deal with no matter what. So that was cool to me. That we were able to just kind of, all right, well, let's do it. And kind of go with the flow, and it kind of worked out really well. And and I think that's why now we're even more pumped that, like, we're gonna have crowds back, and it's gonna be like the good old days.
Yeah, man. So congrats to you guys for getting through it and all that stuff. So yeah, so definitely check him out, guys. Like I said, I knew I wanted to showcase and talk Lost Boys because this is my favorite movie, and I knew that this person was the good catalyst for this to happen.
I think we did good. I think we did good. I think it was a good one.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was definitely cool. And dude, we have a lot of people chiming in and stuff. So if you guys were here, thank you guys so much. If you like this kind of stuff, make sure to sub. Write in the comments below any questions you have. I'll make sure to either relay them to him or answer them myself. And definitely appreciate you guys coming on. And as always, Vincent, thank you, brother, for making this happen.
Thank you.
And it was good talking to you, man.
Hell yeah. Same here, man.
Later, guys.